So this time I'm going to stare at the video camera and make sure it's actually on, because I just spoke for 10 minutes and it wasn't fucking on. It's been one of those weeks. I just wanted to kind of do a little, I don't know, this makes me feel better. I'm extremely OCD, and I'm having some major OCD attacks lately. And yeah, 90% of it is video games and characters. It's something stupid that most people would be like, what the fuck are you even talking about? I don't care. But it's also, like, in general, my life has always been this way. I go back and forth on you know, my positions. I started my job as a web designer, and I felt like it was the most comfortable position for me. It was the one that I excelled at the most, because I'm very introverted, and what hit to me was I could be that. You know, I could sit in my corner and work on Photoshop and things like that. Sorry, my allergies are bothering me. But when it came to it, I was bored. I was just really, really bored. I didn't find it as entertaining and as fresh as IT was. So I switched to IT. But the problem with IT in my life has always been that I'm an introverted person, and I don't like speaking to people. I don't like coming out of my introvertedness. And that has always been a challenge for me with IT. But I made a decision years ago, about 2 or 3 years ago, to stop doing this and just focus on IT, and that's what I'm doing. I'm working on my IT career. But just to show you, that's part of my normal life. I did the same with the house where I'm living now. I didn't want to rent. I wanted to buy a house, and this has been something that's been going on for a while. And I backed out of it last minute because I debated it, and it beat the topic to death, and ended up just renting because it felt the most comfortable to me. And it was probably the better of the decisions, but this is what I do. And it's frustrating, to say the least. And I do it with the characters too. This is what I do. I feel as though I have too many. I'm tired of doing the same thing. I feel overwhelmed, and I make an action. I take a choice. The compulsive thought comes in, repeat all the time. And what do? Instead of fighting it, or not fighting it, or instead of accepting it, I fight it, and I take an action to stop it. So I'll take a Thal, Yarg, or Caber, and my mains, and I'll move them to a different server, or I'll move them to a different account, and I'll try to separate them so that the alts are just this, they're not there. I'll ignore the alts, and it never happens. And here's a good example. I did it last week. I had moved, I didn't move, when the double XP was going, I had made a Thal on a different server, and what ended up happening was, it was supposed to just be a Thal and maybe a Bounty Hunter, my two favorite classes. It was going to be a Guardian and Bounty Hunter, and I ended up fighting that, and as I'm fighting it, I ended up making 6 more characters on that server, and then I got frustrated last week, and I'm going to cough because my sinuses are driving me crazy, but I fought it, and after I fought it, I ended up thinking to myself it was stupid, which is what always happens to me, even if I move it to a different account, or I move it to a different, boy, that sun is crazy this morning, I move it to a different account, or I move it to a different server, and then I'm like, this is dumb, and I move them back. Granted, it didn't cost me too much money to do, but I have spent a good amount of money doing this. And this never seems to solve a problem, it just makes it worse. Because the real root of the problem isn't really a problem, it's that I'm an alcoholic. And I'm an alcoholic in video games, and I'm an alcoholic in gaming. Not an alcoholic, an alcoholic. I make many, many characters. I play many, many games. I don't stick, I have my 3. And I'll even jump to other games to try to solve my problem, and I always come back to the same 3. And I need to accept that this is what I do and who I am and what I'm about. It's just like the same with everything else in my life. I'm a caring person, and it's never going to change. And I may want to not care about people, and I may want to not be affected by things, but I'm not that type of person. I have to accept that and stop trying to fight it and change it. And that's this thing that's what I constantly go through in my life. And it's frustrating, and I feel like my channel, if my channel is doing anything for me as a person, and I hope it's doing it for you, it's giving me some type of therapy. I don't have a therapist. I want to have a therapist. I've I've gone to therapists in my life. I have not. My insurance isn't really helping me with this one, so I'm kind of having a tough time with it. I'm trying to find one that accepts my insurance. But this channel is allowing me to speak freely about what struggles I'm having and why I'm having it. And I know it's ridiculous that I'm talking about characters and alts and games and stupid shit some people just don't care about and have told me. But this is just how I am and what I do, and it makes me feel better. And, you know, if you're anything like me and you're going through some type of struggles, and it doesn't need to be video games, but if you're going through some type of OCD struggles and fights and attacks, and you're taking actions instead of accepting, then you get it. You know what's going on and what's happening, and you too are feeling it, and you now know that there's somebody else out there going through it. And that's all I'm trying to do. That's all I really want when it comes down to it, is to know there's other people that feel this way, and that they too are going through these struggles, and they too understand these are triggers, and they're working on trying to accept it. So that's what I go through, and the fact that I recorded this video like 5 times is kind of dumb, but that's what happened. I forgot to hit record, and the first 2 times I just didn't like the way it sounded. So I'm just I'm kind of venting because I just went through it last night with the characters. I just feel like I'm bored of doing the same quest 3,000 times. You know, I spoke to one of my friends, and, you know, they were saying you don't play the games, you have the specific thing you do, and that's how you do it. And I do. I'm a power leveler. I run dungeons in every single game I play, flashpoints, dungeons, and whatever else that you want to call them in other games. But I will run the same thing over and over again on my characters. I don't pick, you know, I usually pick Burning Crusade in Warcraft or Wrath of the Lich King, and I run them over and over again. And that's how I level. And they were saying you don't get the game, you don't play the game. But I kind of do. I do it on my mains. Oh, and even totally off subject, I do it with exercise too. I've been struggling on trying to get back into exercising. I'm really good sometimes with it. But I know for me, I work better with the person. When I worked with Khan and we were working out together, and, you know, his job wasn't as crazy and my job wasn't as crazy, we were pretty steady, and I was losing weight. I got down almost, you know, I got down under the 200s, and I was very steady on my working out, and now I'm just not. I'm back to where I was, and I'm struggling, and I'm on a diet, and I'm trying to follow the diet and trying to eat better. And it's just a constant OCD struggle, and it's frustrating because it's what I do. It's like the same circle, the same diet, the same game, the same job, it's so stupid, and I'm not complaining about any of it. And I think people sometimes take what I'm saying as complaints, but I'm not complaining. I'm literally saying what goes through my mind. And tomorrow, you know, my OCD-ness, this is what's so awesome about it. Tomorrow, it won't be a big deal. Like, I'll move on to something else. Like, what I'm stressing about today won't be a big deal tomorrow. And that's how you know it's OCD. And it's crazy because that's what I go through on a daily basis. And like, this video is probably all over the fucking place, but it's the God's honest truth, straight from my heart, and what I'm dealing with on a daily basis. So hopefully you guys get it.